How's it going, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Crypto Clout, the YouTube show where you subscribe for a video every single day where we discuss the latest and greatest news in the cryptocurrency world. And today I am happy to bring you a video regarding TRON TRX. I'm sure that there are plenty of people out there who are feeling pretty happy with the positions that they've been taking up on TRON, with it being in the green, defying the expectations of the market. With the essentially we have a lot of cryptos, barring the regular candidates, of course the usual suspects have their day in the sun, but something like the top 100 cryptos, it's interesting to see how they've sort of been getting less attention lately, but of course TRON being the exception to the rule. It is interesting to see how this technology is sort of pulled ahead, and it makes me curious as to the future when we're looking at all these different movements in terms of price and partnerships that have been happening with TRON. I'm definitely excited and looking forward and seeing for what BTT and essentially how TRON sort of coming together with BitTorrent, the future of cryptocurrency sort of in the making, and we're getting a glimpse of that as these things happen. All these topics and more we're going to be discussing. Of course, BitTorrent, I think that this is a good tweet to start off with right here. Been around 18 years, 100 million monthly active users, 1 billion installed clients, 1 million new installs daily, and of course 25 million USD annual revenue. But okay, investing in an ICO that has only a white paper, and fancy websites, it's named instead of BTT. So I think that this sort of highlights how TRON and BitTorrent coming together is essentially a match made in heaven. Definitely I'm in the party of thinking that TRON is a sleeping giant. Anyways, so today's looking at the price, I'm sure that there's plenty of people who are scooping up their TRON earlier within the 24-hour period, who are probably feeling pretty good about themselves. I know that a lot of people sold off early when there were sort of these indicators that we were going to be experiencing this dip. But for those of us who've held on, who are still in the limelight right now, I'm definitely excited to see where this price action is going to take us. Of course, with the various different happenings, as far as I believe that 2019 is, in a sense, it's setting the trend for what we're going to be seeing for the entire year. Now, I know I'm not the only person who said this, but it is interesting. And of course, in other news, we've got Joe Rogan talking to Killer Mike on Bitcoin, and of course the central banks in this conversation. So this is definitely an interesting podcast. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Joe Rogan, and it's interesting how he's been giving cryptocurrency its attention that I believe that it's due. I'll just read for you a quote. The amount of money that banks control, if you just stop and think about it, what goes into the Federal Reserve and what goes on with all the money, and how much a dollar is worth overseas, and the balance of it all, if there was something that could all rely on what's controlled by a gigantic group of people who have a vested interest in profiting off of a pile of money. If it was a sort of Bitcoin-like thing, it would be a really different world. It'd be really, and I think that this sort of quote right here definitely encapsulates what a lot of us think about day to day when it comes to cryptocurrency. And of course, this sort of conversation that Joe Rogan's having there, it's definitely something to take into consideration. I think the decentralization of the internet, it's a vision that we share, a lot of us at least, who follow the content that we make on this channel. I'm pretty passionate about where we're going to be expecting to see the decentralization of the internet, and I think Justin Sun is one of those people who's really tuned in and turned on to what the public, the conversation that's happening regarding the cryptocurrency revolution adoption and what it actually means for the future of the internet. And I think that there's multiple overlaps that I don't need to restate for you in this video. But of course, with these different developments happening, with BitTorrent, it seems pretty obvious why Tron's been receiving the attention that it's been due. And of course, op-ed, trying to build a better Bitcoin is as pointless as creating a better Google search. I think that this was a pretty interesting article that I was looking at as well, sort of talking about where Bitcoin is, how it's coming. Currently there are a lot of cryptocurrencies, but they're hitting bottlenecks related to joining the system as a new user and to storage. The broad goal here is to enable cryptocurrencies to scale well for more and more users. I think that is, I'm not going to go over this complete and totally for you. If you guys want, you could definitely go and check out the article for itself. But essentially, I think that it does highlight a critical point where we're currently existing. When it comes to seeing how Bitcoin, and these various different technologies are going to be, making their headway. And of course, it brings to mind the question, the concept of how cryptocurrency is basically faring up in regards to the what I would term as the unrealistic expectations that we basically were seeing people having when it was a couple years ago, or now it's almost 2 years ago, when Bitcoin was at its all-time highs, and then followed by a year like 2018. And I think that with this, we've seen a mature, people have sort of matured in their perspective of what cryptocurrencies can actually offer. And in regards to this, I think that it's also pointing towards a much more broader attention towards things like Tron, which are facing these different backlash in regards to the overall unrealistic expectations that people had for cryptocurrency. But when we want to talk about where Tron is headed, I'm pretty excited to see this recent developments that Tron has been aiming for. Justin Sun's tweet pay off. Where'd it go? Well, of course, they don't want you to read these articles. They always want you to pay to join for a membership or whatever. But you get the point. Tron, it's talking about Justin Sun's tweet, and how this really does sort of point towards Justin Sun as a founder. I always think that it's important to look at the teams that are working on these projects, and Justin Sun is definitely one of those people who he's modern day CEO sort of celebrity. When you want to think about Justin Sun and his capability of leveraging social media in order to basically get his message out there without needing to basically get blocked off and barred by the unrealistic ways of communicating. He wants to just talk directly to the audience, which I think is something that's very commendable in that regard. But of course, this is the calm before the storm. Once the BTT ICO hits, following the airdrop and then a full integration of a BitTorrent token on all BT clients, things are going to get real. I think this was an interesting tweet as well, just pointing towards some of the expectations that we could see. And I'd say that during this month and next month in particular, I think February is going to be the month for Tron. I think that it's going to be a pretty interesting month, to say the least. And as we see blockchain continuing to get its development, especially in this current time where we're seeing Facebook and all these old guard social media platforms sort of running into problems with their centralized storage of data. But of course, Tron now basically starting to ramp up. Holders on February 11th, 2019. Get ready, everybody, because things are going to get real very quickly, I think. And it's interesting to see how Tron has been able to manage and stand up to the turn of the tide. Of course, when it comes to 2019, nothing can really be predicted, but of course it is always something good to make these videos about Tron. Tron and basically keep you guys up to date, in regards to what I'm thinking. And of course, remember, this video is for entertainment, educational purposes only. If you guys are interested, obviously remember, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is for entertainment purposes, but of course you guys can connect with us on our Twitter. That's at CryptoTuber. And of course, we're always interested in hearing what you guys have to say. So of course, make sure that you comment down below and let us know what you think and what you expect to see this February when it comes to Tron. And Tron defies the price trends, latest news to be updated. Tron technical analysis, token siding, the bull for a race, 235 DApps and 3.5 billion in transactions. Prominent crypto investors see, and of course more talk about Tron. So it is interesting to see Tron and EOS basically getting talked about, and all this publicity I'd say is good publicity. I mean, they say any publicity is good publicity, but I don't think that that's necessarily the case in the world of cryptocurrency, because people tend to be more questioning, and obviously, but JP Morgan takes another shot at Bitcoin, claiming it isn't worth the value. No, we've been seeing this happening again and again too, which is, I'm glad to see this article right here, because we do see the mainstream media trying to get their Tron, not trying to get their cryptocurrency cheap. I think that they're filling their bags. That's my personal take on it. But overall, I'm excited to see what's going to happen in February when it comes to Tron. And I think that the price action that we've been seeing of recently is definitely an indicator that there is some interest in this project. And I think that it's definitely something to be paid attention to. And it's I'd still consider Tron to be a sleeping giant. And it's interesting to see what this technology is going to do in the long run. So, just some other articles. We have, BSI Inc.'s partnership with DLT supply chain startup, Coinbase, and Gemini will tell the IRS you bought crypto. Kraken holds out, obviously interesting things. Samsung Galaxy S10 crypto integration would likely fall flat for now. But if still at the same time, we talked about this, Samsung Galaxy having this crypto integration, even these talks of these things is a sign of mass adoption. So it's something to pay attention to there. But of course, Tron TRX being the subject of this video, I think that it was a good video to be able to give this subject some conversation. But all that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next video. Have a good one.